Welcome, class. So today we are going to be learning about the difference between summarizing versus paraphrasing when you're reading a text. So let's go over our learning goals first. By the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to determine a theme or central idea and analyze its development through summarizing and paraphrasing. And that's what we're really going to be focusing on today, the difference between summarizing and paraphrasing. Now, I know those words sound really big right now. Don't worry about it. We are going to break them down. And so by the end of this, you're going to be experts on summarizing and paraphrasing. Now, we're also going to be able to delineate and evaluate the argument and specific claims in a text by identifying reasons, evidence, and counter-arguments. Now again, there's a lot of big words in there. So I want to remind everybody how to use the dictionary tool in Kami. So you're all looking at this video on your Chromebooks, and as soon as you're done, you're going to open up a lesson that looks exactly like this in Kami, and you're going to have access to all the same tools. So, when you see a word in your lesson packet that you don't understand, and maybe I'm busy talking to someone else, and you want to know what that word means, all you have to do is take your cursor, go to the dictionary tool, and click on the word. So let's start with theme. And it pops right up. So theme, it's a noun, it's the subject of a talk, a piece of writing, a person's thoughts, or an exhibition. It's a topic. Theme can also be a verb and give a particular setting or ambience to a venue or activity. So think of like the theme of a party. So if you are having a fiesta, what might a theme be? Think about that for a second. It can also mean an idea that recurs in or pervades a work of art or literature. That is very related to the first definition. So when you read something, when you watch something, when you play a game, what is it about? What's the topic? What is something that recurs or pervades throughout whatever you're reading, watching, or playing? Let's do one more word. So we're still in the dictionary tool, and we're going to be learning about summarizing and paraphrasing today. So let's do these. Summarizing. It's to give a brief statement of the main points of something. Brief. That is the main point of summarizing. It's not supposed to be long. Brief means short. It means succinct. It means main points. Not a long explanation, a very short explanation. Just covering the main theme or topics. Now, let's see what paraphrasing means. Paraphrasing, the definition of, is to express the meaning of the writer or speaker or something written or spoken using different words, especially to achieve greater clarity. So that means taking whatever you're reading and putting it in your own words so that you can understand it better. So you're going to be rewriting what you're reading and writing it again so that it makes more sense to you. So that might mean writing it into more shorter words, simple language, or maybe it means using bigger words. It all depends on you and how it's going to make better sense to you after you write it. All right. So let's get into it. So please follow along on your screens as we go over this graphic organizer. So first I'm going to read the directions. Please follow along. I'm going to highlight them so you know where I am. And remember, highlighting is a great way to annotate your learning packets so that you know exactly what to come back to, what's important. So, directions. View the information below to understand key similarities and differences between a summary and a paraphrase. Then, use the information to complete the activity on the next page. Great, so let's go over what a summary is and a paraphrase again. So I know we already looked at definitions, but let's check out what this graphic organizer has to tell us. So we'll start with summary. The goal of a summary is to condense the main ideas of a text. Now, condense, what does that mean? Condense is to make something denser or more concentrated. More concentrated, that sounds smaller. Let's check out this third definition. To express a piece of writing in fewer words, more concise, so more to the point. So we're going to be, when we're summarizing, we're going to be taking a big text and making it smaller. So, you use a summary to take notes for class or to help you remember what happened in a reading or assignment. So another use of summarizing is when you're taking notes. So when I'm talking and you want to remember what I'm saying, it's very helpful for you to write down the main points of what I'm saying. You're not going to have time to write down every single word, right? But you can write down the main points, which will help you to remember. This is a form of summarizing. Now lastly, a summary should be brief. Now that goes along with this word up here, condense. Remember that word? We want to make them brief, which means shorter, condense. All right, now let's take a look at paraphrasing. The goal of paraphrasing is to put someone else's ideas in your own words. So, sometimes when we read things, the person who's writing them is writing them in a way that we wouldn't write them. So when we paraphrase, we're going to take what they wrote and put it in our own words. We're not going to miss anything. We're going to include everything they wrote, but we're going to put it in our own words. You can use a paraphrase when writing an essay or paper. So when you want to use the information that someone else made or gave you or you read somewhere and you want to put it in your own paper and you don't want to copy and paste and quote, you can paraphrase what they said. You still have to give them credit by citing the paraphrase, but it often makes your paper that much better because you put it in your own language, so it flows better with your entire essay. Now lastly, a paraphrase does not shorten a text. It just puts the ideas in a text into original order. Now let's compare this last one with this one. So, in a summary, it should be brief. It should condense. It should be smaller, right? A paraphrase does not shorten. It should be repeating the ideas in original order without shortening it. So we're not making it any shorter. It's going to be the same size. Now, let's put that into visual. Let's go down to the next box. We have summary and paraphrase. So, let's check this out. Change the sentence structure of the original text. Change the vocabulary of the original text. Do you see how this box goes under both paraphrase and summary? So that's what's going to happen. We're going to change the sentence structure and we're going to change the vocabulary. So it's going to be new words and new sentences when we summarize or paraphrase. But now, so that we can all understand the difference of what the final product of a summary and paraphrase is, let's check out these visuals below. Now, this might seem like a little bit of math. I know you guys all learned fractions already. So, let's remember our fractions and check out the difference between summary and paraphrase. So, let's first look at a summary. You're going to use only the most important ideas in the original text, and the summary is going to be significantly shorter than the original. What does significantly mean? Let's go back to the dictionary tool and check it out. Significantly means in a sufficiently great or important way as to be worthy of attention. So it means sufficiently important. So it's very noticeable. It grabs your attention, the difference in size between the original text and the summary that you create based on the original text. So this blue box, what do you think this blue box represents? We can see that it's bigger than this box, and there's an arrow going from the big box to the small box. So, first of all, how much smaller does this box look compared to this box? Now, since we're not in math class, it doesn't have to be exact, but I am looking for an estimate. Do you guys remember how to estimate? So please estimate how much smaller this box is compared to this box. All right, good job. Now, who thinks you could fit 2 of these boxes into 1 of these boxes? If you raise your hand, you're right. Now, who thinks you could fit 3 of these boxes into this big box? If you said 3, I think you're right too. It's going to be close. Now, who thinks you can fit 4 of these boxes into that box? Probably not, right? Now we're stretching it. So we were able to estimate based on seeing how many of these boxes can fit into the big box, how much shorter the summary is going to be compared to the original text. So if we can fit 3 of the summary boxes into 1 of the original text, that means that the summary is going to be 1/3 the size of the original text. That's significantly shorter than the original. So you're only going to have room to put in the main points. Now, let's check out paraphrasing. So in paraphrasing, you're going to use all the details in the original text. So you're not going to leave anything out. All the details. A paraphrase is often similar in length as the original. If it's similar in length, well, what's going to be the difference? Oh, I remember. Let's go up to this green highlighted. We're going to be putting someone else's ideas into our own words. It's not going to be shorter. It's just going to put the ideas in a text into original order. You're going to put it in your own words, guys. You're going to take someone else's writing and you're going to rewrite it in your own words so that it makes more sense to you, but you're not going to leave anything out. Now let's look at this real quick. We have a small box. It looks about the same size as this box, right? But this is in the summary. This is the original text. It's just smaller now. Now we see the arrow and we see this box. It's also a small box. How many of these boxes, the paraphrase boxes, do you think will fit in the original text? If you answered 1, you're right. And that means that this is a whole. 1/1 equals 1. And that means that the original text and the paraphrase are going to be the exact same size. All right. Now it's time for you guys to open up your Chromebooks to your individual lessons and start working on the activity below.